Good evening and welcome to our special on mass media bias here on the Constitutional Millennial Channel. Media bias, as many of you know, is defined as the bias or perceived bias of journalists and news producers within the mass media in the selection of events and stories that are reported and how they are covered. The term media bias implies a pervasive or widespread bias contravening the standards of journalism rather than the perspective of an individual journalist or article. So here in the United States, media bias is mentioned by a lot of politicians as sort of a complaint that they're not getting enough coverage among the main media. There are plenty of examples of this, considering the people like Rand Paul or even Bernie Sanders to an extent. And then you have what was sort of viral attack on the media by Senator Ted Cruz at one of the GOP debates. But here in America, the media is heavily corporate. It is not state-run. It is not local. Not many networks, if you didn't notice. And the media, objective journalism isn't really a realistic goal because everyone has their own opinions and they will express them even subconsciously when they speak or write in reporting. But the corporate bias is defined as when stories are selected or slanted sometimes to please the corporate owners. And in America, this is clearly evident if you watch CNN or Fox or ABC, CBS, NBC, MSNBC. Everything is corporate. There are only a few large corporations that own the majority of the American media. And mainstream bias is a tendency to report what everyone else is reporting. So you'll see that many of the networks report the same things. They may spruce up the wording of their reports just a little. Sensationalism is bias in favor of the exceptional over the ordinary. So saying like a plane crash, for example, will be reported a lot more than a car crash because the media want to get a lot of views instead of just reporting things that happen to their local constituents, I guess would be a good word. But the media in the United States systematically emphasizes one particular point of view, according to Wikipedia here, which I do consider sort of credible. Claims of media bias include claims of liberal, conservative, mainstream, and corporate bias. So liberal bias is when you're watching, say, MSNBC, and they have a sort of conservative politician on, and they don't let him talk. They, don't say anything positive about the guy or woman. Conservative bias, Fox would be what most people consider that. They do nothing but hype up their chosen candidate that they are united behind, and they, sort of just not slander, but don't speak positively of any liberal Democratic candidates or anything of the nature. So there have been a lot of research papers written about media bias and why it's such a big deal. But it cannot be avoided. That is my opinion. That is what this video is for, is expressing my opinion. Bias is meant to be controlled, not eliminated. You're going to choose what story you report. You're going to choose what words you use to speak or write about your story. Do not slant the truth when you are reporting. that is not good journalism. It's not good journalism. Liberal bias is the one that most people know about, and it is evident. I do believe it exists. Conservative bias also exists, not on as many of the networks and not with as many of the journalists. But and I mean, the goal of these corporations and their channels is to get views, and people that share these points of view will watch these stations over other ones. I prefer to read the news just to make up my own mind, and I encourage you to do the same. But that's really all I have for media bias. I may revisit this topic soon as a journalism student. But thank you for watching, and God bless America. Have a good day.